Everyone. This is our live webinar coming to you live from Maharishi International University. And our theme today is MIU Online Education Reimagined for You. It's so wonderful to see everyone joining us, and thank you for the shout out. All right, so my name is Karen Aoki, and I've been a part of this beautiful community for about 20 years. I've been a student, more recently faculty, and now it's my joy to be hosting these webinars where I'll be bringing you our educators, our administrators, and our students to answer questions you might have about our education system and some of the degree programs. So our tagline is that we are the home of consciousness-based education. And on our homepage, you might see things that we're featuring that are very atypical. I mean, when I look at this website, what I see is an ethos, sort of a vibe or a culture. And it's very true. As long as this university has been here, we're as passionate about everyone's inner growth and just general levels of well-being, in addition to also caring about your education. So consciousness-based education means quite a few things for us. There's that practical aspect of developing consciousness, which is primarily through this technique called transcendental meditation. There's also other advanced techniques that we incorporate, also yoga asanas, like what you're seeing here. And today, we will be looking more at the immersive learning process and how we bring this culture online to you. It's also important to mention that this is a fully accredited nonprofit university accredited by the Higher Learning Commission. And financial aid is available, so please complete your FAFSA and find out how much you qualify for. So with today's webinar, we really hope that you will come away having the answers to these 3 questions. Is MIU online education right for me? And what's different or unique about MIU, the culture and the learning community? And what can I expect as a student? Our panelists include 2 educators and administrators. So Roxana Medeiros, who's the director of MIU Online. She's also extremely qualified as an Ayurvedic practitioner. And she also is incredibly skilled at instructional design. So if you're in an Ayurveda program, you'll see her beautiful work and the templates that she's designed. So she'll be showing a little bit more about the online immersive experience that she's designing through our online learning management system. And then there's also Amin Quider, who's director of the Online Cinematic Arts and New Media program. And then for our panelists, we have 2 wonderful students, Sarah Hurst and Aya Biraktar. And they are currently students of Ayurveda. So we have a lot of expertise in the area of Ayurveda, but they will also be addressing questions that pertain to hopefully anybody who's applying here. So let's start with Roxana Medeiros. So first of all, I just want everyone to have a better sense of who you are. What would you like to share with us about your interests or your relationship to MIU, anything to get it?
Sure, who you are. Yeah. At some point, I ended up learning transcendental meditation, and I want to say maybe within the year, there was an online program offered for a master's in Ayurvedic and integrative medicine. And so I jumped at the chance to be able to do that. I grew up in Hawaii, so I knew that there was no way that my family would ever come out to Iowa for me to study, even though I was really excited about the on-ground program they had. Funnily enough, I was actually able to talk them into doing that for a few years and started not only completing my master's degree, but then started my doctoral program in physiology and health. And through that, I started as a teaching assistant and would help out with instructional design in the Masters of Ayurveda program. And I ended up moving into another position at MIU where they needed to fill some gaps, and that is as the director of online education. And it dovetails nicely with the work in Ayurveda because I can actually start thinking about how to bring well-being to the structure of our courses, regardless of what discipline you're in. So these are things that we'll start constructing into the design of our courses, as well as having more resources for our students when it comes to their overall feeling of well-being, because what is really important is that each student feels that they are looked at holistically for everything that they are able to bring to the university, all of their talents, their unique interests, their background, anything that they have learned, whether it's through life experience, work experience, familial obligations, and we really try to be very student centric. And that means really putting your needs and concerns and suggestions at the forefront of how we construct our curriculum. And that's kind of been my journey here with MIU. And it's really been a joy to be able to participate in this kind of way and merge my love of accumulating knowledge with my love of Ayurveda.
I was wondering, like, basically, what kind of learning community can students expect online at MIU? Is it, if it's asynchronous, does that mean it's sort of distant and self-paced, or is there any element of like being in a classroom space?
In terms
Yeah.
of the online classroom, creating community, I feel happens so easily. We have a lot of interaction and engagement with the faculty members and teaching assistants. And of course, we have ways that we engage with the students and have them really build camaraderie amongst each other. So we try to create a really nice community with our students. And I'll tell you, I've been to several online universities myself and have graduated out of other programs. And the level of personal care and guidance that I've received in our undergraduate, well, that I've seen in our undergraduate and received in our master's program is really unparalleled in my experience. There is so much more connection, and I really feel that there's this very genuine level of care about our students getting what they need from their program, and that they're really understanding the discipline, the content, and that we make ourselves available as faculty to be able to contextualize any knowledge that might be difficult to wrap your mind around. But I really feel that there's a huge amount of presence and awareness to the students' needs, and that's really a focus of mine. And anybody that I'm working with, we all try to make sure that we're putting the students' needs first and really getting that excitement and passion and the spark for their discipline to really shine throughout any assessment that they would be moving through to be successful in that course or throughout their program.
All right, thank you so much. I think that gives us a sense of the feeling in the classroom, online, and also maybe the webinar space. I think we'll come back to you when we show a little bit about how our online courses are built, but let's switch over to Amin just to get a perspective from the Cinematic Arts and New Media program. I'd like to know, can you give us a sense of what immersive learning means online, especially in an asynchronous type delivery?
Yeah, thanks. I always feel like with the MIU like experience, because it's a unique experience because you're plugging. It's not that you're joining an online program. I feel like you're plugging into a community that values consciousness, community that values growth, that mutual support. For us in the Cinematic Arts and New Media program, we have a lot of project-based learning. So you're learning by doing, but also that interaction with classmates and interaction with faculty is so important. So we do have a weekly webinar, and I think all programs at MIU have this, a weekly webinar. What we do during the weekly webinars, we have like breakout rooms so that you can have a little bit of feeling of community with your classmates. We also do individual sessions, at least in the Cinematic Arts program, where you get to have one-on-one with the faculty or with the TA. Short period of time so that if you're stuck somewhere in your project or something like that, at least a few times during a course, you have the ability to have that one-on-one attention to your projects. We started doing this thing, which is affinity group meetings, meaning students meet outside in required meeting times, but without the professor there, so that the peer-to-peer support and feedback and things like that. But beyond all of this, this is like very practical aspects of how we do this. But beyond all of this, what I found is that the essence of an MIU education is that we value who you are as an individual, and we value your growth as an individual. And building community is such a big part of that. And you're joining other people that have that as a, I want to grow as an individual, and I want to get a degree. So you're going to be in class with different people from that space. And online students report having really wonderful experiences. Sometimes they come to campus for graduation, or sometimes they come to campus for certain classes. And they feel like, the amount of joy that you feel when you meet everybody and when you connect, it's as if you've been together in person the whole time. So it really feels like immersive learning in my experience.
Well, has this been a good time to show us maybe how the online classroom space is constructed? I know that we have an example from Roxana's program, but also one from yours.
So this is a cinematography course that I teach every year. And then you have the course here, and then you have the syllabus and all these different aspects. And then you go to the module view, and you have your assignments and everything that you need to do within that week there. And then if you go, each week has an overview so that you're never lost. There's a wholeness, there's a connection to the consciousness points, and you get to see what you will be learning that week. And then we have videos that faculty record, sometimes videos from Maharishi or from other experts if you're doing that. There's slides so that you can learn a lot of the information from that. And then you have assignments that are, basically pretty well set up. This is cinematography, so it's a lot about filming, and so this is what an assignment looks like, and then people submit their assignments and they have a discussion within that assignment. So it's you have an opportunity for interaction within the assignment with classmates, but you also have other opportunities to interact a little bit more live.
Well, can you give us a little glimpse of the Bio 268 course that Roxana designed? Okay. Yeah, Roxana.
So this course is specifically tailored to our yoga teacher training program, which just launched, and they have to go over as part of being affiliated with Yoga Alliance. Part of earning a credential with Yoga Alliance is taking specific kinds of courses. So this is the homepage to our fundamentals of anatomy and physiology. And if you want to drop into the module section, you can see everything is organized pretty much the same. You'll have an overview, lessons, and then at the end here, for this particular course, we have the assignments at the bottom there. So we can look over at the overview page, and this will give you an idea of how this course is set up. Similar to Amin's, there is a wholeness of the module. So we're really giving you some context about what it is that you'll be exploring from maybe a more expansive perspective. And then we have here what's called an SCI principle of the module. So SCI is the science of creative intelligence. And Maharishi came up with 16 principles that really touched on so many various aspects of life. And a lot of times a faculty person will tie these into the theme of that particular week or module, whatever you want to call it. And so if you're scrolling down a little bit more, you'll see that there's learning outcomes that a student will meet over the course of that particular week or that over the course of that module. And it's really just to make sure that you can see the clarity between what's happening in this page. And then if we go to, say, click next, you'll go to the next page, and you'll probably see that there is tied in right there MLO1. So that first module learning objective, if you go underneath the wholeness of that lesson, and then MLO2. So you know this lesson is meeting those objectives. And then later on, you'll see that tied into one of the assessments. So this is essentially what this particular program, this is the layout of their course and how these things look. So depending on, you know, who's designing it, a lot of times if it's one program, then it's one designer. So we try to keep everything streamlined so you know where everything is and how to locate anything in your course. And we can take a quick glance at an assignment that's live right now if you'd like to. I mean, if we go back into, yeah, I think that would be nice, a self-reflection or. And this just gives you a sense of, you know, tying it back into those learning outcomes, having really clear instructions from the faculty person about what it is that they're expecting for you to submit in an assignment, and that we have a discussion component. And this is like going back to what Karen brought up earlier about bringing that community in. We do have a lot of discussion forums, and so it gives you an opportunity to get insights from your peers and also for the faculty person to chime in and give you insights live during that discussion forum too. So it's really a great way to get to know the faculty and the other people who are in your course. So that's just kind of a little snapshot of what you can expect when you're in one of our Canvas courses and what that layout looks like. But it's very intuitive and really easy to follow for any student. Fingers crossed. So,
All right. Well, thank you so much, Roxana, for your time. And I think now we'll go to our student panelists, which is always the highlight. But let's go over to our student panelists. We'll start with Aya Biraktar, who is currently studying Ayurveda. And thank you for joining us today. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Anything you'd like, so we get a sense of who you are? What brought you here?
Yeah, sure. So before I came to MIU, I was studying yoga like really intensely and just really fell in love with everything that fell under the umbrella of the Vedic tradition. And I spent about like 3-4 years studying like yogic philosophy and yoga, and then finally discovered Ayurveda. MIU, compared to other schools that I went to, offered that like deep immersive study that I was looking for. And I feel like MIU really weaves together all these beautiful teachings in a way that just like supports you as a student and supports your studies and like wants the best for you as a person. And I think that's what we all want as students, or as people. So I really I'm really grateful to study at MIU, and it's also the only school that offers Ayurveda as a degree. So I thought that was like another reason why I was really excited to study here.
Thank you. That really helps get a sense of the feeling of the community and also what it means to be immersive learning. Can you share us anything practical about how you were able to do both your studies and maintain, I don't know what else you had going on, maybe a professional life or a family life? How did you balance that? And are there specific aspects of like the learning management system, the self-paced learning that helped you balance your workload?
Yeah, so I just have like a job. I work full time and then I do school full time. And the fact that it's asynchronous, meaning like you don't have to attend live for everything, you can kind of do things at your own pace, but there's still a sense of structure, was really nice. The structure was nice to help keep me in a routine, but it was also, I was able to go at my own pace. And I think that's something that's really important too, is like not feeling pressured and stressed to like show up and do all these things when timing isn't right. So when I was in Fairfield on campus, Roxana would say something to us about how on campus, we move at a royal pace. And I thought that was really sweet in terms of like rushing and being stressed out about time. And I feel like that was, I mean, there are deadlines that, I'd stress out about, but for the most part, it was like I was able to structure my week in ways that worked for me. And I structured it around the deadlines, but it was pretty loose and flexible for the most part.
Yeah. So deadlines meaning like, I'm assuming Sunday.
Yeah, so in the
Yeah.
undergrad program, it was Sunday. And then in the master's program, it's like, I think it's a little different. I think it's looking like Tuesdays. But yeah, it's usually like one day out of the week that's going to be like your submission day. Like there could be something to do different, but that was
Right.
mostly the structure and it was pretty consistent throughout most of the classes.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense that the study would happen closer to that deadline, just giving just a little bit of that inspiration. All right. I think that's good and gives us a sense. So I want to make sure we have time for Sarah. Thank you so much for your
thank
time.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So Sarah Hurst is our second student panelist and also happens to be a student of Ayurveda. We just are featuring Ayurveda. It was just how it worked out. But just maybe more for the general audience, what led you to actually MIU and were you considering other universities?
Yeah,
First tell us a little bit about yourself. Sorry. Yeah.
absolutely. I think they're kind of one and the same answer. Before MIU, I was actually, I received an accounting degree from a traditional university, and that was at the University of Montana. And with that degree, I was actually running a law firm, and it was really stressful. And I know that going to college there, they had all these classes crammed. And then when finals came, it was just so much stress. I would have like hives and my stomach would be upset and it was just crazy. So after doing that kind of school and then running the law firm for a little while, I started to really, as I got older, reconsider what did I want to do with my life? And I always found myself outside in the woods and collecting flowers or herbs for medicine for my children. And so I started to look and think about what kind of environment do I want to create for myself and my children and my family. And so I started to look online. I'd always wanted to be a doctor at some point. And I know that I wanted to be some kind of holistic doctor. And as I started to look, I needed something that was online because with my children that I have, we can't just get up and move to another state. And so I wanted something that would provide a degree online, but was also very aware of my own health as a school. And so that was the huge difference between the traditional school that I went to versus Maharishi International University is it was just very centered around the health of the student, as well as a very well paced that brought this sense of community to my schooling as well. Being here at MIU, it's been great to really learn online and become ultimately a doctor like I originally wanted to be.
That's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And you brought up the point about the contrast with the previous university. So that just reminded me that I need to speak about how we have this style of having no more than 2 courses at a time. So full-time means 2 courses at a time over 2 months. And you can also do part-time, which is like 1 class over 2 months. So we used to call it the block system, but we just want you to know that we pace things differently. And then at the end of each class, you have that exam rather than a pile up at the end of the semester. So thanks for reminding me about that. Okay. And are you already incorporating Ayurveda into your professional life?
Yeah, I have started an online practice, but I also work at a brick and mortar building in Missoula, Montana, and it produces Ayurvedic practices and health consultations for our clients. And then we do things like Shirodhara, which is just oil drippings on the head that help with mental clarity and some other mental health issues. And so we do the very non-invasive treatments for our clients. We do a lot of oil massages that is really helpful for people that may be struggling with some health issues in that manner. And so we're allowed to do these things, but we have to be very careful about how we practice and how we portray ourselves.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that's a good tip. Thank you so much. And well, this webinar was featuring the online because the application deadline for the October entry is September 15th. But we want you to also know that there is the option to study on campus at any level, bachelor's, master's, or PhD. Otherwise, option 2, study online. But the third option has also become very popular, and it's this hybrid where you actually move to Fairfield, which is the small town in Iowa, and still are an online student, but then get all the amenities that the on-campus has to offer. And so there are also students with families that choose to move to Fairfield because it's very safe, and there's a K through 12 school that's affiliated with the university, so the value systems are similar with emphasis on yoga, meditation, immersive learning, and that caring, nurturing community. We have a very generous transferring credit policy for undergraduates. We accept transfer credit towards bachelor's degree programs from any college that's a member of the Higher Learning Commission or other comparable U.S. regional accrediting associations. But we also take transfer credits from international universities of comparable accreditation. And we actually transfer up to 90 credits. So consider that if the minimum of if the degree is a minimum of 128 credits, it's quite a bit that you can apply towards your degree. So sometimes people transfer in and only end up with a year and a half or so before they can graduate. And more than 90% of the university students receive extensive financial aid. And then the next one is the application deadline of January 15th for the February entry, and most of our programs are available at that time. Some of the graduate programs only have a fall entry. And we want you to know that on any page of their website, you can click on apply or request info. So just want you to know about these handy buttons. And you can interact with us through on-campus visitors weekend. Even online students come and check us out. Maybe it's because you have interest in maybe relocating to a small town with a vibrant arts and culture scene. The next one is October 3rd to 5th. And then after that, the end of October. And there is a travel reimbursement. And then we also have visitors Saturday. The next one is December 7th. Or if you can't make it here, we have interactive webinars like this one, or you can request to meet your professors. Basically, all of our students learn transcendental meditation, and it ties into the whole consciousness-based perspective that we teach. We have a very specific model that we put forth, which is that consciousness is this underlying field. And transcendental meditation is this technique whereby you settle the mind easily and experience that universal field of consciousness. And we want you to know that if you've applied and been accepted, you can learn at no cost from any TM center. And it's recommended to learn before you become a student. But if you haven't been able to learn, don't worry about it. You can start your first class here and then just make sure you learn transcendental meditation before the first class concludes. It's called Exploring Consciousness. And finally, we want to say thank you for your time and attention. If there's anything we haven't answered, please let us know and we'll follow up after this. And we hope to have you as part of our community, either as a student or if you become a meditator. We have a lot of retreats and courses here that are for meditators. You don't have to just be a student to be part of our community. So we hope to see you soon here on campus or online.